Hi guys, it's Hannah and welcome back to a game of Fangs and Thrones. Now today's video is a little bit different, and if you're seeing this then I actually finished it and I didn't give up halfway through, and I must at least be somewhat happy with what I'm about to do. Basically what I'm going to do, this is a little bit of an experiment, and if it goes well I'll let you know at the end, but I am hoping to at least use this as an example or a test. If it's posted, then you'll see it. If not, then I'll try again later. But basically, what I want to do is I want to do a reading vlog of me rereading the Shadowhunters books. It won't be a complete reread because if you've seen all my unread books video and probably what month are we in as I'm filming this introduction? October. And my October book haul, you'll see that I haven't read Chain of Gold or Ghost of the Shadow Market, and in October I hauled Lost Book of the White? Yeah, Lost Book of the White. So I'm hoping to just reread the rest of it, see if I still love it as much, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna stand up. Oh, good shot. That's an awful angle, so we'll pick you up. Right, so I'm going to be starting with the Infernal Devices, which is Clockwork Angel, Princess, and then I will move on to the Mortal Instruments series, City of Bones, City of Ashes, Glass, Fallen Angel, Lost Souls, and Heavenly Fire. Then we'll go to that's not Dark Devices, what's that one? Infernal Devices. Oh, this is going great already. So we've got that trilogy, then that series, and then that trilogy. Which is the Dark Artificers, Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and Queen of Air and Darkness. And yes, it does slightly annoy me that these are all different sizes. Then what we'll do, I haven't quite decided, but I think I'm going to read Bane Chronicles and Shadowhunter Academy first, because they are a reread and then the last of the reread. I'll probably give Shadowhunters Codex a miss because I know it's just a flick through really, but if I do end up reading it, it'll probably be around the time when I'm reading my short story bind-ups. Then we'll read now I know that Ghost of the Shadow Market does have a spoiler in it for something, but what we'll do is we'll read Ghost of the Shadow Market first, and then we'll read Chain of Gold. Then we will read Red Scrolls of Magic, and then Lost Book of the White. And ooh, dizzy, you dizzy yet? Excuse the mess. This bag here is where I hold all of my two haul books. So Lost Book of the White is in there somewhere, I'm not pulling it out. And yeah, we'll see. Oh, that's so flattering. Can I put you up there? No, I can't. Okay, but I'll just hold you there. Oh, I've got mess everywhere and clothes everywhere. Yes, so what we'll do is we'll start with the Infernal Devices, move on to Mortal Instruments, jump back to Dark Artificers, and then go from there. Now I do know that so many people probably have different ways of reading it, but that's the way I'm going to read it. Because I know that Clockwork Angel follows Will, Jem and Tessa, then City of Ashes follows Clary and the gang, then Dark Artificers is the Blackthorns and Emma. Then Chain of Gold, I'm not entirely sure of who the actual characters are, because like I say, it's not a reread, it's an actual read. And that follows Will and Tessa's kids, Gideon and Sophie's, I think. Basically, it follows their kids. And then Shadow Market is obviously just some short stories within the world. And then Red Scrolls of Magic and Lost Book of the White is Malik. Magnus and Alex's story. And yeah, so if you have been wondering why my balance in the books have been off, or my TBRs have been really short, this is why. This has been taking up my time, and I'm not one of these people that can read multiple books at once. So what I'll probably end up doing is read one book from my monthly TBR, and then just pick, when I finish that book, pick up the Shadowhunter book that comes next in my order, then finish that, then finish another monthly TBR, and we'll just go from there. And I'm not setting myself a time limit for this one at all, because it is just a experiment, you know, just to see what happens. And as such, I'm still halfway through my last book, which is, oh, I'm giving you all sorts of funky angles, You Are Not Alone by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pettinan. Not a great idea reading it while I am as anxious as anything. This is just a calendar, if you're just wondering what was taking over half the room. And look, it is Nightmare Before Christmas. It's my favourite film. But yeah, so I'm going to put you down, finish this book, and then I'll check back in when I am ready to start this reread / first read. And I'm giving you all sorts of... Oh, is that a better angle? Hey, at least at the end of this my vlogging skills will improve. So yep, I'll let you know when I've finished this one and I'm ready to start on Clockwork Angel. And yep, so I'll see you in the next clip. Hi, it's me again, obviously. I'm just checking in. It's Friday the 24th, Friday the 24th of October, and I'm just about to start the first book in the Infernal Devices by which Clockwork Angels by Cassandra Clare. This is a reread, and I've forgotten that the first line of this is "The demon exploded in a shower of ichor and guts." So yeah, I'm ready to get back into the world of this, so that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm just probably going to, and as you can tell, I'm in my pajamas, and little Simba face, and it just is the Lion King. But yep, what I'll do is I'll probably check in again tomorrow when I can find a quiet time during the day. And yep, I'll let you know how far I get and what my thoughts and feelings are. But I do remember that I think I preferred Gem to Will the last time I read it. But then again, I just loved all three of them, Will, Gem and Tessa. But yeah, I'll speak to you again in the morning unless I have a very big need to document what I'm feeling as I'm reading it. So I'll see you in the next bit. Hi, so I'm probably about 130 pages in. I've just got to chapter 6, and I'm really enjoying being back in this world, getting to know the characters again. What else? I had so much I wanted to say. Oh yeah, I forgot how funny this book could be. It's got that classic British humour in it. I mean, okay, there's going to be I'll say it now. There's going to be spoilers in this vlog, because obviously I'm going to be talking about sequels, and I know that the end of, well, I think it's the end of Clockwork Princess has a big spoiler in it for City of Heavenly Fire, or vice versa. It's been a while since I've read these, but yeah, I forgot how much I absolutely adore Henry and Charlotte's relationship. Obviously, I feel like everybody's read these books now, but Charlotte is the head of the London Institute in the Victorian steampunk era that this particular trilogy is set within in the Shadowhunters world. And Henry is just so absent-minded. He's a typical absent-minded professor, and Charlotte balances him out perfectly. we've just met, Tessa is our main character. She's a bit of a shapeshifter. She's just met everyone, and I kind of forgot that she didn't meet Will and Jem at the same time. Will obviously rescues her from the Dark Sisters, and they're involved in the Pandemonium Club, which obviously ties into Clary and the gang in Mortal Instruments. So I'm loving all these little nods to earlier, later series. As what's the word? It'll come to me. But those little nods and the consistency. That's it. The consistency between the different elements as well. So we have Henry, who is an inventor, and when he's first introduced to Tessa, he's set his arm on fire, trying to set up or invent, or at least it mentions something called a sensor. Now, from what I remember from the Mortal Instruments, the sensor is what they used to find demons and things. So it's nice being reminded of where these come from. We've met Jessamine, who I do kind of have, from what I remember of her storyline, I do kind of feel sorry for her this whole way through, but she is a bit of a brat. and then we have Sophie, and we've just met Thomas, and let's be honest, we all know that Tessa was always going to end up with Will in some point, because he shows her the library. But there's some beautiful lines in here about how Tessa feels about books. I'm just trying to find it, but there's also a message. Here we go. So I'm just going to pop you down. Yes, you can see my screen. Here we go. But the line I wanted to find was he didn't know what books meant to her, that books were symbols of truth and meaning, that this one acknowledged that she existed and that there were others like her in the world. It's just so sweet. And then on the other page, I think this is me just reading into it a little bit too much and knowing what comes next. But if this doesn't remind you of Magnus, what will? She stared down at an illustration showing a tall man with shaggy hair standing in the centre of a pentagram chalked onto a stone floor. He looked completely normal, save for the fact that he had eyes with slit pupils like a cat's. Now, we haven't met Magnus yet in this one, and like I said, it's been a while since I've read the rest of the books, but isn't Magnus's mark, his warlock mark, his eyes? Isn't that his tell? But then there's another one, but there's something else in here that I thought was a bit foreshadowy for either City of Heavenly Fire, Lost Souls, the whole Sebastian arc. And it's something that Will says. A summoning spell here, a bit of angel blood there, and you have a recipe for indestructible human warriors. Now, does that not remind anybody of what happens with the Mortal Cup in the Mortal Instruments, or is that just me again? And knowing that Tessa actually called Will Mr. Herondale, I know it was the time, and you know that, and it was the done thing, but for some reason Will calling Tessa Miss Grey and Jem calling Tessa Miss Grey doesn't seem as bad, but Will is just snarky, and we have found his sort of temper when Tessa was talking to him and he sort of flips that switch, which admittedly I do remember the reason why, but it's still a little bit out of the blue. She's not getting close to him at all, but yeah, I'm probably going to read getting to about 9:30, and I have been up since about 5:30. Thank you, early shifts at work. But I'll probably read a little bit more and then go to sleep, and probably I do want to do a few things in the morning because again my room is tiny but it really needs cleaned, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. I've got some uni work that I should probably get on with as well, but if there's time, because let's be honest, we can always make time for books, I'll probably read a little bit more of this and keep you posted of any thoughts or revelations I may have. But I've forgotten how easy these were to read. Maybe it's because I've been reading. The last book I read was a adult thriller, and obviously this is a thriller's not my genre. I prefer fantasy, and obviously this is YA fantasy, so it's always going to be a little bit easier to read than adult for me personally, and especially since it's fantasy. But I'm rambling on, and I'm going to speak to you in the morning. Hi, so I'm about halfway through, really flying through these actually. I forgot how quick they were and how much world building there is. Will, Jem and Tess, when I last updated you, I think I was just sorry, I think I was just meeting Mortman, and he was telling Charlotte and Henry about his association with the Shadow Hunters in the Shadow World, and I do not trust him at all. It just seems oh so convenient that the head of the vampires is the bad guy, and then obviously we meet Camille, who backs that up, and again I just don't trust any of them at all. We still haven't met Magnus yet, which I'm a little bit annoyed at, but I think what I'm going to do is otherwise this vlog will be far too long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an update when I start the book, when I'm a couple of chapters in, because I know the books do get bigger as they go on. I've got them up there, which is why I'm looking, and then I'll give you an update when I'm about halfway through, and then obviously when I'm finished. So we've been introduced to Gabriel Lightwood, and I can't remember how the Lightwoods end up. No, this is the London Enclave, so it doesn't matter. But I was just going to say, I wonder how the Lightwoods end up in control of the New York Institute, but it doesn't really matter at this point. But yeah. And Will is doing his flip-floppy emotion thing with Tessa. You know, he's all chummy one minute, and then he flips the switch and he's cold towards her. Yes, I know the reason behind that, because like I say, this trilogy is a reread, but come on, you could still be nice. So she's met, yes, Jem has in the picture, Tessa's experienced her first attack from one of her put your teeth in, Hannah. Tessa has witnessed one of Jem's attacks, met the Lightwoods, she's learned about Parapatai, but obviously it isn't a big thing yet, because obviously we learn about the world as Tessa does. And Charlotte is feminist to the core here. Obviously we know that it is obviously Charlotte that's running the institute in all but name. Henry's just, doing his own thing in the lab, and that works for them. But obviously with the time it's Victorian. Victorian. Oh, Tessa's only 16. I thought she was older. I'm sure she's older. She reads older, but maybe that's just the time and the fact that she's had to grow up really quick. But yeah, because obviously in Victorian era it was the man's job, the man ran everything, and as Jessamine explains, the woman's role is just to make the man happy, which still don't agree with. But Jessamine is a brat, still, but she's an interesting character. She's almost trapped. She's a young woman almost trapped in the mind of a child, especially since, she tells the she shows Tessa the doll's house, and she's like, "This is my house. This is what we do. We don't do this. We sleep through the night. We don't track mud on the carpet. We don't track blood into the carpet, and we sleep through the night, and we don't go help people and get murdered." So it's something. I'm wondering if that's foreshadowing for what happens to Jessamine later on. Yes, I know this is spoilers, but I can't remember exactly how that happens. But yeah, we've met Camille, who obviously plays a part later on in Mortal Instruments. Like I say, we still haven't met Magnus, but yeah, I'm getting so into this. I think I'm getting more out of the politics side of things. Sorry about the light. I've got Amazon Prime thing. Just running through some photos there, so it's going to give some different lights. But yeah, I mean, I'm on page 220, which I think is near enough halfway. But yeah, I'm going to get back to reading and check in with you when I've finished, which, considering it was Friday when I started this and now it's Saturday, like literally the day after, shouldn't take too long, so I'll see you then. So I've just filmed a video and thought I would give you an update on how the reread is going. So I finished Clockwork Angel and I have thoughts. How old is Church? Can anybody work that one out for me? Still loving Charlotte and Henry, still hating Jessamine. And Will, he is so top flippy floppy. One minute he likes everybody, the other minute he hates everyone, and yeah, I don't know how to feel about Will. We've met Magnus, and right, I have finished this in case you couldn't tell, but we've met Magnus, we've met Camille, Nate has revealed his true colours, Mortmain has revealed his true colours, and that name rings a bell for something else as well. Is he in those books? Oh, those ones, the Dark Artificers, because that name definitely rings a bell. But we've found out that Tessa is obviously Warlock but not Warlock. So many thoughts, and I'm really not doing a very good job of updating you guys about anything, am I? But it's my first vlog. It'll get there. But there is something about Charlotte. Oh yeah, so she's 23. She's early 20s at the start of this, and they say that she was 18 when she was given control of the institute. Well, she and Henry were given a control, and go Charlotte. She has 3 unruly teenagers. Okay, Jem's not unruly, but he has his own challenges, bless him. And then we have Will, and then we have Jessamine, and she was only, 18 when Will turned up, and he was 12. So Jem couldn't have been much older either. Jessamine, I think, was there the longest. But yeah, and okay, I get it. Kids in Victorian times, Victorian times, there was a hierarchy, and Jessamine seems to be stuck between the ideals of what was expected of a young lady of the time, get married, domesticated life, Anyway, she's struggling with that versus her roles and duties as a shadow hunter. So that's causing some interest in her character, even if she is a brat. I will never stop saying that because she is. Charlotte has done everything for her. She's hosted her, and yeah, and just remembering what happens to her as well just makes I do feel sorry for her a little bit. But yeah, and then the kiss. Will, stop playing with Jessa's heartstrings. Stop it. And I think this was the book to get to know Will, whereas the next book, Clockwork Prince, is where we meet Jem, because I think this is them on the cover. Even if I did imagine Jem as blonde, but this is the next book in the series. I haven't started it yet because I do want to get some normal reading done. So I still have things to talk about in wrap-ups and things, and I can still do TBRs, which isn't going to cause too much hassle. But I am excited to pick up Clockwork Prince to see what happens next. And yep, so I'll let you know when I'm a couple of pages, probably about 100 or so pages in, and I'll let you know thoughts and feelings if I'm still enjoying it. Hi guys, just finished filming my TBR for November, so I just wanted to give a quick check-in with how this one's going, how this project's going, I should say. Now, I haven't picked this one up yet, but I am hoping to tonight. And I stick by what I said before when I said that I think this one is Jem's book, whereas with Clockwork Angel we meet Tessa and it's more Will focused. So I think with this, sorry, the bookmark fell out and it's very sharp and it just hit me in the side of the foot. But yeah, with this one, obviously there's going to be the fallout from Mortmain and Nate. We learn, and I'm expecting a little bit more of that angst-filled romance that Cassandra Clare writes so well between Jem, Tessa and Will. So I'll see you when I eventually get around to picking this one up. And this one, I think, I'm not sure if this one or the other one is bigger. But that's 490. This is 496 pages, and yes, it is water damage. No, I'm not going to replace it. I'll see you in the next bit. So I'm probably about 3 chapters in, which in this book is 74 pages. I forgot how funny this one is. There's a lot more humour in it. With us being 4 chapters in, we're just getting back into the world again. We've just met Agatha. Is it Agatha? I've forgotten. Bridget and Cyril. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was getting confused with Agatha, the cook in the previous book, but I always thought Bridget was older. Is there no adults in this book? But we've met the Lightwood boys, Gideon and Gabriel. Still not sure how I feel about those two, but at least with Jessamine, I still don't like her. She's in our section that we had in Sophie's point of view, which was beautifully written, considering Sophie has these unrequited feelings for Jem, and she's always been put down in previous employ, and you know, she was always taught to be invisible. So that actually comes in handy in the sense that she sees what other people miss, especially with what's happening with Jessamine. She's just snuck out, and I think I remember why, but I'm not going to say anything because I know this video is going to be full of spoilers, but there's no point in giving more spoilers than necessary. So this book seems bigger than Clockwork Angel. I wonder if it's because my copy is a little bit water damaged them because I am a little bit tired. But there's still the angst between Will and Tessa. She's spending, and because of that, she's spending more time with Jem. And the relationship between Jem and Tessa is obviously going a lot more slowly. It's a lot more natural and built on. I think Tessa and Jem's relationship at this point is the one I'm rooting for. Yeah, I know what happens. I guess this is a reread. I know what happens, but I do prefer Tessa with Jem at the moment. Maybe because Will's still being a bit of an arsehole. But we've got Magnus in this book. We have some Magnus. I like Magnus, can you tell? So I've got no idea how long this video is going to be, considering it's probably about half an hour already, and I have that much left to read, and Clockwork Princess, which is a chunky book in it even of itself. So I'll check back in when I've finished this one and I'll let you know what I think. Alright, so first off, if you are still watching, thank you. I have just finished book 2, Clockwork Prince, and I have thought. And I still love Henry and Charlotte, and I've just found out they're gonna have a little boy. But they've Nate in this book, so much goes on. Nate has died. He's told Tessa to keep the angel close. They found out that Nate isn't Tessa's brother after all. He's their cousin. He's a cousin, and all sorts of drama. But Will is happy again. That bit was so heartbreaking to find out that he lived a lie, basically. And then there's the engagement between Tessa and Jem, even though Tessa still loves Will. So cute. We made it. We're on to book 3, which is so much taller than the other two. I suppose that's because it is a collector's edition, and it has the family tree in the back. So I don't know how much of that you saw, but it's the family tree of the Carstairs, Herringdale and Lightwood families. So we'll fold that back up and then we'll get into it. So obviously with this one, we'll pick up from the end of the second one, which is Clockwork Prince. And in the end of that one, obviously, Charlotte's found out she's pregnant. Jessie is with the Silent Brothers in the City of Bones. And our good friend Tessa, who was only 16, I always thought she was older, has accepted Jem's marriage proposal, and Will has asked her to marry him. And they've all found out that no, they haven't all found out, but Tessa knows that why Will was acting the way he was, and that he lived a lie. We found out that something happened between a shadow hunter, who is supposedly Tessa's mother, and a demon, which goes against everything that the guys know. And obviously Nate has died after revealing that. So convenient. But yeah, and Cecily has just turned up, so I'm going to get into this and tell you what I think at the end, and then that's the end of the video. I've just finished Clockwork Princess, and I don't know what to say. I always forget that the epilogue makes me cry. Can you tell? I've tried not to cry so much, but you know, it's just so sweet. And if it was anybody else other than Will, Jem and Tessa, it wouldn't work. But I love the nods, and I know I said I would probably update you when I was in the middle of this, but I just got carried away reading and just continued. But there's so much love in this book, it's incredible. I'm not doing a very good job of wrapping this up at all, am I? I'm just gushing. But yeah, I absolutely adore it, and Cassandra Clare has an amazing way of making you feel things for characters you didn't think you would. Sophie and Gideon, their relationship was so sweet. You know, she's a servant, he's the shadow hunter, and you know, he wants you can see the little, this here is an earring, I've just noticed it sort of peeking through my hair. I quite like that actually. But the relationship between Gideon and Sophie, he's marrying below his station, but then she ascends and becomes part of the Shadowhunter family, which is perfect. Then we have obviously Cecily and Gabriel. Now I do have a bit of an issue with. Maybe it's more modern day thinking, but she's 15 and Gabriel is about 18, and modern day me is saying, yeah, that's weird. But me that's thinking in terms of the 18th century, in terms of the way when the book was set, is thinking, yeah, okay, these girls grow up quick. And Cecilia mentions already that, you know, she did expect to have to marry young to bring some honour back to her family. And we actually meet Will's mum and dad, and he's just, I would have liked more of that, but everything about this book was brilliant, and this book is my absolute favourite. I might do a proper wrap up tomorrow. I know, when I'm feeling less emotional about this book breaking my heart, putting it back together and then breaking it again. And there's so much about this that I love. I know I probably said it in an earlier clip, but there's so many details in this trilogy that coincide with City of Bones, and obviously the Mortal Instruments series, and then the subsequent later ones, like the letters JG in City of Bones. I want to say, it's been a while since I've read that one as well, which was obviously Jessamine Grey carving it into the wall when she was held captive. There's the Herondale scar. We find out where that came from. There's obviously Magnus and Church. I still don't know how old Church is, and how can a cat live that long? But then there's other little things as well. I think I mentioned this as well in an earlier clip, but in one of the earlier books, Will is talking about how the Mortal Cup is used to create Shadowhunters and the Forsaken, and I got major Sebastian vibes. It's like, yep, that's what's gonna happen. But yep, thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. It is my first reading vlog, and I admit, you know, it's lots of me babbling into the camera and not actually seeing much reading, but I'll get there. And thank you so much for sticking around to find out. I'm not sure when this is going to be out, but I do want to film a balancing the books video tomorrow for Monday, because it's now Saturday. Okay. And I do want to perhaps film a wrap up as well for Friday, so this video will probably be on the Monday after the wrap up, and you'll be able to see the secret books that I've been talking about. And I'll probably do another one of these for City of... Why do I keep wanting to call it City of Bones? It's the Mortal Instruments. The Mortal Instruments is the name of the series. City of Bones is the name of the book. And I know in terms of, if I'm going chronologically, I should probably read Chain of Gold, then Mortal Instruments, then the Dark Artificers. but I'm not going to do that. No. I'm going to read them in terms of, I'm going to do my rereads first. So that's obviously this trilogy down. Then it's Mortal Instruments, then Dark Artifices, then I'm going to go, I'm not sure, but I think I might read Bane Chronicles, and then the Tales of, I've got the books here, which is why I'm, it's my little bookcase, that's why I'm pointing to the side, but I might read Bane Chronicles, Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy, do them in a vlog, then read Chain of Gold, start the actual reads, so read Chain of Gold, then Ghosts of the Shadow Market and Red Scrolls of Magic books 1 and 2, well, the Eldest Curses books 1 and 2, but you never know, I might just decide to read them and wrap them up in a vlog in a whatever month I read them. But this has been really enjoyable. I love the world, I love the detail and how we seem to, and I love the idea of following these 3 families through the ages. So obviously we follow the Herondales, the Carstairs and the Lightwoods. Obviously in Mortal Instruments we follow Fairchilds and not so much the Carstairs, but obviously in the Dark Artifices we follow Emma Carstairs and the Blackthorns, who are related to the Lightwoods by marriage. So it's all coming full circle with who we follow. I'm going to wrap this up now, and I'll see you in the next one. Leave me a comment below if you've liked this and if you've read the Infernal Devices trilogy, and if you agree, if you think it's if you agree with what I've said, because I can't remember what I've said and what I haven't, and we'll have a chat. If you leave the emoji of a cat, I'm sure there's a cat emoji, and we'll chat in the comments.